Welcome to the next lesson in this module where together we're going to be building out a fully operational AI automation agency landing page using the software Webflow. This tutorial here is going to be really cool as not only are you going to learn a little bit about web development when it comes to Webflow, but you're also going to learn how to leverage ChatGPT in this context and how to really proctor effective chats. Before we jump in, let's go ahead and just check the pricing real quick. So since we are an agency in this context, we won't need to use the e-commerce version of Webflow. We'll just use the general version. And for the context of how we'll be operating for this site, you can choose something as simple as $14 a month. This would encompass everything you would want within a landing page. You could in theory go with the free. You would just have to deal with a webflow.io domain and more limited form submissions. Perfect. Once you have created your free Webflow account, go ahead and arrive at your dashboard. Where you want to go from there essentially is to Marketplace, go to Templates, and that is the current page I am on. Here you can go ahead and search or explore a ton of different templates when it comes to building out a service agency. But what we're going to do for this video is we're going to scroll all the way down here and we're going to start building out a landing page using a free template. One thing I want to point out is if you check out the description down below, you'll be able to click a shareable link and you'll be able to see what this looks like on Webflow's side when it comes to editing the underlying Webflow template we're about to create together. So when exploring different templates, it's always a good idea to go with something that's very simple and clean and doesn't look too old. As you see, these look a little bit old, maybe like 2015, 14. And if you want to real quickly see what a template looks like when you're searching for your own agency, you can simply click this little button right here. This is going to bring us to a live preview of what the site would look like. As you see here, we got a relatively decent site here. Very simple as we are dealing with free templates here. And you can go ahead and scroll through all these. Most of these near the bottom will be made by Webflow. Some near the top are going to be made by different private organizations. One thing I want to note is there are some templates that give you pre-designed home pages and contact pages and about pages, and then some templates that just provide the underlying UIs. So for example, this is a template that just gives you the user interface for different features you could have on a site. So for example, if I went ahead and clicked text input, you would have the ability to have all these pre-made custom CSS classes for all these different options here. The free template we're going to be developing on today, though, is going to be higher up. I went ahead and checked out all the templates before making this video, and out of all of them, I really like the design on this one. It's simple, it's clean, and honestly, it can really compete with a lot of the paid templates. And we got a nice little bar here, and we're going to really be able to develop this out into a nice landing page that you will start being able to get potential leads for. Once you have found a template you want to start using, all we need to do is press use. So we're going to say use for free here. Let's go ahead and name it AI Automation Agency Template. We're going to go ahead and hit create site and let's let Webflow load. Okay, perfect. We went ahead and loaded up into Webflow. So let me go ahead and explain some general stuff about Webflow and then we will start developing this web page with ChatGPT. Start off, let's go ahead and explain the header here. First things first, this right here gives you the different orientations that your website could be found on, such as mobile, landscape, tablets, and desktop. Most of the times you will be able just to edit on desktop and it will automatically format correctly on mobile. There are certain contexts where sometimes you will need to come into mobile, maybe edit it a little bit so it looks a little bit better. Coming over here, we have a couple of different options here. As you see here, that means that the changes are currently saved. If we come over here, this is what's going to be able to publish the changes you made to the live site. So let's go ahead and start with that. We're going to say publish selected domain here. Obviously, we're going to be using webflow.io. We don't need to make a custom domain for this tutorial here. If I went ahead and hit this little button here, it's going to take me directly to what the live site will look like for the end user. That is how you publish it. In the context you would want to share it, you can go ahead and come up to this button here and say share. We're going to go ahead and provide this link right here in the description so you can kind of check it out on your end. For now, you don't really need to worry about that. If there was some reason you wanted to export the underlying code associated with the site, you would just click this button right here. Coming over here, this little eye essentially makes it so you can look at the site live rather than publishing and pressing that button. You could do it right in the editor itself. Okay, perfect. Now that we understand what the top bar means for Webflow, let's go ahead and understand all these different little tabs here and see why they are important for us. So first one is going to be just taking you directly back to the dashboard. So you don't have to worry too much about that. The second one is how we're going to add elements to our Webflow page that have preset templates. And that'll make more sense as we jump into this right here. But for now, if you want to add a header, a paragraph, image, video, everything, it's very much of a drag and drop platform. Very minimal code is needed. This next tab here will come associated with all Webflow templates. Essentially, these are preset different formats for the Webflow design. What do I mean by that? Let's go ahead and give you an example here. So for example, this is a CTA section, and this has automatically been done here. So if I went ahead and drag that up here, it's going to be see how it's the exact same. Essentially, this is what they call instances, where let's say I was creating a brand new page and I didn't want to redesign this entire thing. I could simply go to an instance, drag and drop it, and we'll be good to go. The next button here is a chronological layout of every single section associated with the web page you're working on. For example, you can see I'm working with the header, the navigation, the banner. And just for reference, as I said before, these instances, when you see that green little box, that means that throughout the website, whether I'm on the privacy policy or I'm on the contact page, whatever page I'm on, these are going to remain true on every single page. E.g., let's say I went ahead and changed this and I want to get rid of post job, right? If I remove post job from the home page, it'll be removed from every single page found within the website. This really helps expedite time when working on web development. Following that, we have our pages tab. Our pages tab is going to give us every single page associated with our website. If you hit this little gear here, we're going to be able to access the underlying SEO for the website. So we're going to come back to this a little later in this tutorial, where we're going to be able to change the title tag, the meta description. And what's really cool here is we're going to be able to set up a graph setting. And this is really cool in the sense of if your website's ever shared through mobile or social media, this is going to be the image that is associated with your link. The next section here is a CMS, content management system. This is where your blog posts are going to be found. And if there's any other form of content management, such as job posts and companies, this is not really relevant for us. But in the context of how this template was already made, they already have these two CMSs. Next is logic, which isn't pertinent for what we're trying to achieve here, because the end conversion event for us is just going to be getting an email for the underlying company. Coming to the next one, we have users here. Right now, it's just me on this account. If you wanted to add multiple people, this is where you would do it. Following this, we got e-commerce. I'm going to go ahead and cancel this. But essentially, in order to enable e-commerce, or the ability to sell directly within this website, that requires a higher tier plan, but also basically a bunch of pages will be created on behalf of essentially enabling e-commerce. So don't enable e-commerce unless you're 100% sure you want to do that, because once you enable e-commerce for a site, you can't roll it back. Next, we have our media tab. This is where we're going to be able to upload images and everything that is important to us. And finally, we have just a general settings tab here, and backups. This is probably the most prevalent thing that I care about on this one. So I could just say phase 1.0. And then essentially, if I'm working on designing any part of the website and I feel like I messed up, I can roll it back to that specific backup. As you see here, it'll show up, hit these three ellipses, restore backup, and it'll go back to the version of the website before I made the edits post the backup. So that was a lot, but now you understand all the fundamentals when it comes to Webflow. Let's go ahead and start building out this web page by starting with ChatGPT and essentially proctoring a chat that's going to be dedicated to building this website. So we're over here in ChatGPT. What I typically like to do when I want to really fine tune a chat for a specific use case is I like to have one plugin enabled. In most contexts, I like having Webpilot enabled due to the fact that maybe at some point in this conversation, I need to call upon something outside of this conversation and something found on a website to make the time that I'm working on this a lot faster. But without further ado, let's go ahead and start this and start with just creating a name for this company. I'm going to say, we are going to use this chat to build a landing page for our AI automation agency. See what it says. So I went ahead and laid out everything we would need associated with a landing page. We're not necessarily going to take this to heart. We're just trying to proctor our chat to understand what we're doing with it and the type of outputs we're looking for. From here, let's just go ahead and say, give me 5 or 10 examples of potential business names. And let's see what it comes up with. So we got 10 different AI automation agency names. personally, out of all these, I would choose Affinity AI Solutions. So from here, we're going to go ahead and copy that, but we're going to proctor this chat to let it know. And let's go ahead and start building out this website. Okay, we are going to choose semicolon Affinity AI Solutions. This will be an AI automation agency dedicated for the social media niche and content generation. So we have basically identified ourselves as we are an AI automation agency, but our specific task and role for services is going to be in the social media niche. We got a headline and a sub headline, which we're going to put towards the website. But before we even get to that, let's go ahead and start reformatting the website a little bit. Since we are just creating a landing page here, we don't want too many links, as we don't want to distract the end user on, maybe going a little too deep in your website, rather than we just want to look for the end conversion of an email. So the first thing we're going to do here is we're going to go ahead and edit our instance. Now, as I said before, when I edit this, it's going to change for the entire website. So let's go ahead and start by basically deleting all these nav menu links. We don't need them. We don't want a distraction. So I'm going to go ahead and delete. From here, we're going to go ahead, and I like having these two buttons here. I like the fact that, there's a little bit of variety here, but instead of having log out, let's go ahead and have it say schedule call. Now take note, notice how this button is actually dedicated towards the system of creating an account within the actual Webflow. We don't want to do that. So what we're going to do here is we're going to go ahead and drag another button here. And right off the bat, you're like, okay, great. We dragged another button here, but it looks horrible. Don't worry. The way you make sure style stays consistent within different items that you add is you're going to look at the style selector. So for us, I like that style. I'm going to use button in primary. I'm simply going to type in button here. I'm going to find it and revamps it to what we're looking for. From here, I'm going to go ahead and delete this, and I'm going to go ahead and rename this to schedule a call. And now we have our schedule a call button here. I'm going to go ahead and just publish it. Let's push it forward here. To do so, let's go ahead and reopen that instance. We're going to go ahead and click it. We're going to hit that little gear, and we're going to go ahead and do external URL. Make sure you don't do a hashtag here. I'm going to go ahead and input our consultation link here. And then what I typically like to do in the context of a consultation call, or maybe, linking for something like this, is I use a new tab due to the fact that I would rather have it that it opens in a new tab. Maybe they're not that interested, they need more information, they could just click back to the other tab real quick and get a better idea of what they're getting themselves into. From here, I'm going to go ahead and just click that. I'm going to republish this, and let's see what it will look like live. We are here live. Let's go ahead and click it. New tab. And as you see here, we got our AI automation agency consultation, and specifically, this is actually our link for our consultation. Perfect. So we got our schedule a call button right off the top. This is really good CTA. Now let's go ahead and handle this little header here, or the banner, and let's handle this logo. Okay, let's go ahead and change this logo real quick. We're gonna go ahead and double click there. We're gonna hit that little gear, say replace image here. We're gonna just do our marketplace logo. If you're familiar, here at WebCafe AI, we have a whole AI automation marketplace. This is our marketplace logo. So we're gonna go ahead and make sure we get our width down. Let's try 40. Let's go ahead and increase that a little bit. We'll do 60. Okay, perfect. So now we got our logo in the top left. Got to schedule a call with a specific link to a consultation. Let's go ahead and change our banner here. Now, when we click the banner here, we got text components and we got a button component here. We're going to keep the button component for now, but we're going to associate that with a different part of the web page later in the tutorial. For now, though, let's go ahead and get a nice little banner text here. To do so, let's go ahead and come back over here to ChatGPT. That's already been proctored to understand what we are and what we do. We're going to say we need a banner text for the website. One sentence. Sometimes we may need to rephrase how we do this, but let's go ahead and see what it comes up with. Perfect. Empowering your social media presence with AI-driven content generation and automation. This should be sufficient enough. Let's go ahead and copy this. If it's too big, let's go ahead and see real quick. Not bad. We can take that. And then for here, we can go ahead and just change the underlying text here to learn more. And we're going to go ahead and have a whole section dedicated to that later in the web page here, but for now that should be sufficient. Let's go ahead and start working from the header all the way down to the footer to really optimize this for an AI automation agency. Okay, let's go ahead and jump back over here, and right now we have a headline and a sub headline here. We have Affinity AI Solutions revolutionizing social media through automation. Let's go ahead and see what that would look like if we put that on the front end. Not bad, but honestly, too much text here. So what I would suggest you do here is just get straight to the point here, revolutionizing social media through automation. And then we have a nice little subheader right here. We're gonna go ahead and jump back over to GPT. I'm gonna go ahead and grab leverage the power of AI to automate content generation and optimize your social media strategy. Just gonna copy that, come back over here. And as you see here, we could add links in theory. We're not gonna add any links here. What we'll do here though, is we'll go ahead and take this, bold it, and then take this and bold it as well, because that's going to be maybe the two main things that we're focused on within this AI automation agency. Now we have a nice little header here. We can add a specific thing that can maybe add a little bit more insight on what we do and how we do it. But as you see here, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, around 3 to 6 words used in this. So we're going to want to maintain how condensed it is for this specific context. So we're going to go ahead and ask, generate another subheader that is only 3 to 6 words. Now, one thing I noticed about that little part there, which is pretty cool, is it has new by it. So let's actually rephrase this. Let's go ahead and do rephrase to announce new service of AI article generator. And as you know, in this course, you're going to get access to that and a commercial license as well. So you're going to be able to really start selling that to different businesses here. And we're going to go ahead and take this, introducing AI powered article generation. Come back over here, paste it, and there we go. Perfect. So we come to the website. All right, what's new? Introducing AI powered article creation. Really cool, revolutionizing social media through automation. One thing I like to do here though, is I want to do a little bit more distinction here. We're going to keep the branding of this purple. I really like it. So let's go ahead and real quickly grab that color. In order to grab the color, you just want to come up to something like the banner that's using it. Come down here, and as you see, it's violet and blue. I'm going to grab the hex here. I'm going to come back over to this right here. And this is just going to show you something pretty cool. What we can do is we can highlight what we deem as important. So maybe we deemed automation as important. Essentially, once we have highlighted it like this, we can go ahead and use this tool here. This is going to separate the text found within this block here. Go ahead and click it again here. I'm going to come over to typography, hit enter. All right, perfect. So as you see here, we got color contrast. Now we have it as revolutionizing social media through automation. We got a nice little subheader here. Let's go ahead and add our main conversion event here, which is going to be basically providing an email. So right off the bat, within the prerequisite of this template, their conversion seems to be focused on finding jobs. That really isn't relevant to us. So let's go ahead and actually build out a block that's going to be dedicated for conversion here. So we're going to come to this CTA here. And what we're going to do here is we're going to make sure that we're looking for the email, right? So we're going to go ahead and double click this footer here. We're going to go ahead and make sure we grab the parent so that encompasses everything within that email catch here. We're going to hit Command C or Control C if you're on a Windows. I'm going to double click this CTA here. I'm going to find this instance. I'm going to delete it. But then we're going to use this box. I'm going to paste. And as you see here, we've officially created this into a conversion event now. From here, I'm going to go ahead and drag it. Oh, drag my face out of the way. I'm going to try to drag it all the way up to the top here. So let me go ahead and grab it. There we go. That doesn't look good. So we want to make sure we find it in here. So I'm going to go ahead and click this. And this is found within this section here. I'll go ahead and just delete this. Here we go. And then grab this CTA section to where that originally was. Whoopsie. Sometimes it can be a little tricky. So I want to hit Command Z that so it's on the same level here. Perfect. I'm going to go ahead and take this original. I'm going to delete that. And perfect. So we got our conversion event right under. You want it right at the beginning of the fold, right? We want it so that the individual can put in their email right away if they choose to be interested just off the header and the subheader of the underlying page. From here, though, we notice that we need to go ahead and update some text here. And that's going to be the header and the subheader of the underlying CTA here. So we're going to go ahead and come back over to ChatGPT. And we're going to see for our CTA, which will be providing an email so we can reach out for services, provide a header and subheader. There we go. So I can take ready for AI driven success here. Double click that, paste that in there, come back over here, provide your email, and let's start transforming your social media strategy today. See how effective ChatGPT can be once you proctor it for a specific use case. So as you see here, we have our CTA. So we're going to go ahead and just publish this, and let's see what the site looks like live so far. I'm going to go ahead and open a new tab here, and here we go. Perfect. So we got introducing AI-powered article creation, our header, our subheader, our nice little banner here. Scroll down. Now an individual can insert an email here, hit get started, and then that could initiate a flow, typically a Zapier automation that will do XYZ once a form has been sent. In order to do so, we're going to come to the parent of the email input, and then we're going to come up to that little gear icon right here, and you can see we have success, error, and essentially in order to edit the underlying how it's displayed on the UI, you would go to success and you can edit it directly here. This seems sufficient enough for me. I went ahead and click that back here. I want to make sure that when we save though, it stays on normal. Perfect. Let's go ahead and scroll down and continue going here. And what I just noticed here is we got this huge little banner thing at the bottom here. Let's go ahead and change that to more of an AI driven banner here. We can come back up here and honestly, let's go ahead and take our previous subheader here because it really gets to the point of what we're doing here. We're doing automating social media excellence. Come back over here. I'm going to double click this and boom. I'm going to go ahead and see. It looks like you can bold this as well. Perfect. And now we have automating social media excellence at the bottom of our webpage. Scrolling down here, you typically want to showcase, different softwares that you use within the company. So it's more clear to the underlying company that you may be doing business with, how you operate. Now let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to go ahead and upload the logos that are typically associated with an AI automation agency. From here, let's go ahead and start updating some of these images. I'm going to go ahead and say replace image here. Let's go ahead and put OpenAI for the AI. Let's go ahead and replace HubSpot here. Let's go ahead and put in Zapier. Then we're going to go ahead to go to Amazon, replace that with Stripe, our payment processor. Then we're going to come over to Shopify. Let's go ahead and change this to Google Cloud. Then we come over here to Slack. We'll change this to AWS. And then for the last part here, we can go ahead and just delete this last logo here as it is not pertinent. Delete that. And sometimes you'll get an error like this due to the fact that there is a grid that needs to be edited. We're going to go ahead and click that. And then we're going to go and tell it basically that we don't need that last one. There we go. From here, we can go ahead and hit escape. Let's go ahead and publish this. And now we have the logos that are typically associated with an AI automation agency right under the fold of our CTA. Now, this next section found on this website isn't relevant to us, so I'm going to go ahead and just delete. Now we got our following section here, which we can kind of change here and make it more in favor of how we operate as an AI automation agency, which is the fact that we integrate with a lot of apps. So I'm going to come over to ChatGPT. I'm going to say, okay, our next section showcases how we integrate with over 5,000 apps, generate a header and subheader. Hit enter here, and let's see what it comes up with. Perfect. So we got seamless integration, infinite possibilities, a play on words with the name of the company we're dealing with here, which is Affinity AI Solutions. So I'm going to go ahead and click this. Seamless integration, infinite possibilities. Let's come back over here. We're going to say connect over 5,000 apps to supercharge your social media with automation. Let's go ahead and copy this. Come over here, paste that in there, and perfect. There we go. Let's go ahead and publish this real quick. I want to see what this looks like on the front end and see if we need to manipulate these underlying boxes. Okay, really cool here. So as you see here, it's a nice little slide bar. Our descriptions, though, are just fake text. So let's go ahead and manipulate this a little bit so you get a better idea of how to deal with that. Now, when you're editing on Webflow and you see a purple outline, that means it's associated with a CMS. So in this context, this CMS, I believe, is going to be companies. So in order to edit this, and this really expedites time, rather than edit it on the front end like this, we're going to come over to our CMS. We're going to hit that little gear here. And actually, we're going to just click it. And this is going to provide all the companies we just saw. Go ahead and go into every single one here. I'm just going to delete the description. So when I delete the description like this and I hit publish, what you'll notice is that the changes will come to the front end. And there you go. We're going to leave the employees just because it looks cool. And let's go ahead and just do that for every single one of these companies. We're just going to delete all the descriptions. In theory, you could add a description associated with each company, maybe 20 API calls we can do with this specific app and so on. But for now, for the purposes of this video, we're just going to delete it so it looks a lot better and a lot cleaner. And perfect. As you see, we went ahead and deleted the descriptions, and now we just have the underlying companies that we can integrate our AI with. Now we're moving on to the next section of this webpage, which is kind of a why you choose us and more context about the company itself. So as you see here, we got a header, a subheader, a short description, 3 feature points, subheaders for those 3 feature points. Then we got an image with a nice little caption at the bottom. Let's go ahead and use ChatGPT and fill all this in. I'm gonna say, okay, we are now onto this section to build for why they should choose us. Generate a header, subheader, 3 main points with subheaders, and 1 large 3 to 4 word header. See what it comes up with. We may need to proctor this a little bit more. Okay, so this is what it generated. Let's take the content here, push it towards our Webflow. So we got our header, why choose Infinity AI Solutions. Coming over here, we're gonna double click this. Perfect. I'm gonna jump over here, and you might be saying, what was the big header for? Big header was for that nice little purple section here. I'm gonna go ahead and just do Experience AI Excellence. Coming back over here, let's go ahead and grab the different main points. We're gonna do unmatched AI expertise. Come over here, place that there, and we're just gonna go ahead and just drag and drop everything. So I went ahead and dragged everything over. We still need a short description, so it's gonna ask for that. We're gonna say generate a short description as well. And one thing I want to point out, which is really cool about when you fine-tune chats, is notice how the 3rd main point calls upon the AI-powered article generator we referred to earlier in the chat. As you'll notice, when you continually going down these different chats with ChatGPT, it will be better at its outputs for the specific context you're working in. From here, we went ahead and got this. Okay, let me go ahead and say shorter here. It's a little too long. Perfect. I like that. I'm going to go ahead and just copy this. Go back to Webflow here, paste it. And there we go. So we have our entire why to choose a section. One thing we need to add here is the partnership part. Honestly, I think what would be really cool here is if we did partnership with OpenAI and Zapier. So they just know right off the bat, okay, it's an AI automation agency. I've heard of OpenAI because of ChatGPT. I know what Zapier is. Okay, this is the software they use. I'm comfortable with that, and I would be willing to integrate that within my own business. I'm gonna go ahead and leave that image there. That's pretty cool. You know, keep it okay. From here, let's go ahead and move down. Okay, so we got potential reviews, we got a resource section, and then we got a footer. One thing I want to show you real quick is why we left these buttons unedited. The reason we did that is I want to show you another feature in Webflow, which is really cool for a single page landing page. So if I click this and I hit that little gear, is I can go ahead and have it go to a specific part of the page. Now, to make sure you're connecting the button with the right part of the page, we're gonna go ahead and come up to that gear icon. We're gonna click our section, and we're gonna give it an ID. Let's just go give it who us. That's gonna be our ID here. Come back up here, and then when I double click this, and I hit that little icon here, we're gonna choose the who us section. Sorry, I meant to say that the type is actually section, not page. Page would just be another page on the website. Section is going to be a section within the page. So once we got section here, you see the ID we called upon here. We're going to do who us, and then I'm going to go ahead and hit publish here, and then show you what it looks like live. Okay, so we arrived at the website. We read a little bit. We read the banner. Okay, I kind of want to learn more. Click that. Brings us all the way down to that specific section that we just created. Let's go ahead and do the same thing for this button here. We're gonna go ahead and rename this, and let's name it who we are. And then we're gonna go ahead and click that little gear, set of page. We're gonna go to section, and for section, we're gonna go to who us. And then from here, we're gonna just go ahead and publish. And now both those buttons have been connected with this part of our landing page. Let's go ahead and move on to our next section. Now, as a business, when you do get reviews, go ahead and use a section like this, but due to the fact that we don't have any reviews yet, we're gonna go ahead and delete that. If you want to have blogs, which is always a smart idea, that's why I suggest using the AI article generator, not only for businesses, but your own business, as you'll learn later in this course. Go ahead and have this section live. So I'm actually gonna go ahead and keep this here due to the fact that this is a great area to have content generation. And as you'll notice here with this, it's a CMS. As you know, the CMS is going to be these little 3 pancakes. We're going to come over to blog post, and then you're going to find everything associated with that blog post by simply clicking on it. And if you come down here, you have what you can essentially put into a category. A lot of this you don't have to worry about due to the fact that once you set up an AI article generator, you're going to be able to automatically do everything that I just showed there. Coming down here, let's go ahead and change up our footer so it matches more of a landing page. So in order to match more of a landing page here, we're going to get rid of a lot of links. So we can go ahead and just delete this. Honestly, we can just delete this whole section here. From here, let's go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and delete that. There we go. And then let's go ahead and add our logo here. Place image. Huge, but we don't want it huge. We're going to do 50. Increase that maybe to 100. Let's do 40. Perfect. So we got a nice little logo here. Go ahead and delete that. Delete that. And there we really go. I mean, you don't want a lot for your footer when it comes to a landing page, almost so much that I would probably delete the footer. But for now, we're going to go ahead and keep this here just so you can have a sign up to a newsletter here. And let's go ahead and hit publish. Okay, welcome to an AI automation agency landing page specific for social media content. Let's go ahead and walk through it and see what we just did here. So everything was created through ChatGPT. If you go ahead and click any button here, it's going to take us directly to that Who Are We page. If you click this, it's going to be a direct link to your schedule. So for us, this is our scheduling. We're using Calendly. Then we move from here. We have introducing an AI-powered article generator. If the individual puts their email there, we're going to go ahead and follow that within an automation or just get a lead within our own email that's associated with that. From here, we got our logos. We have the possibilities that you can do with our services. We integrate with Spotify, Slack, Facebook. Coming down here, we have more information about the underlying company. Coming down there, we can use the AI article generator you'll find in this course and start uploading content right away. What's great about that as well is we can get image content created for the article that we don't even need to upload ourselves. Coming all the way down here, we have our nice little footer with a newsletter sign up. And then as you see here, we got this really cool automating social media excellence throughout the page. Now, one thing I want to add here that I did forget is when you deal with call to actions, and especially when you deal with a single page landing page, you want to make sure you have multiple opportunities to collect that email address. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and actually delete that because I already copied it. I'm going to come all the way down here and let me go ahead and move myself over here. Let's go ahead and add a new section. We're going to add just a section here. I'm going to go ahead and move it above the blog section here. And then within this section, we're going to go ahead and just hit Command V. We're going to paste that in there. Let's go ahead and publish this again so we can kind of see what that looks like. Okay, perfect. So as you see here, same website, but if you keep scrolling down, we have another opportunity to provide our email address, as you don't want the individual user to get all the way down here, be like, I'm actually interested, but they don't want to go through the process of scrolling all the way back up. So sometimes you need to catch them while they're reading through your content. So we added another call to action here, but for now, this is an effective landing page for your AI automation agency. You can check out the link in the description below. Let's go ahead and jump into a little bit more of the back end and stuff you need to know. If I come up here to this little W here and I hit site settings, this is going to give me more information about the back end of the website we're dealing with. Let's go ahead and walk through all these tabs so you understand how to really operate a Webflow site. First being, essentially, this is going to be the name that's associated on your dashboard. No customer is going to see this, only you see this as a developer. From here, you'll be able to put in your fave icons. If you don't know what a fave icon is, check Google. If you use Google Chrome or Safari, it's that little icon on the tab. Coming down here, you're going to want to set the correct time zone. Let me go ahead and keep myself here. You can put a password on the website. Coming down here, you want to make sure that, if you want to remove the Webflow branding, you have to get a actual plan associated with it, like I showed you in the beginning of this tutorial. Coming to the next page here, which is members, you're probably only going to have your email here due to the fact that if you want to invite new members, you can go ahead and click that. But for now, if you're just a solo developer, you just have your name there. For publishing, this is going to be your Webflow domain. You can go ahead and look at your site live using this Webflow domain. It's completely free. Once you get access to a site plan, I suggest you to minify the CSS, minify the JS, due to the fact that this is going to help with processing speeds and site speeds. Plans, self-explanatory, choose your plan. SEO, which I actually forgot to do, so we're going to jump back over to the website, add our SEO to that landing page. But for now, you're going to want to make sure we index it. And we're going to want to make sure that we add basically once you have a site plan, you want to make sure you auto-generate a sitemap, and you can even request a sitemap using basically a .xml. Now, forms is going to be one of your most important tabs due to the fact that this is where you're going to get your leads. Essentially, the form name is going to be what's shown on the API calls and what's also shown when you receive an email. So, for example, I could say cold lead, and then essentially when I get an email put into that form, I will be notified that it was from the cold lead, if that makes sense. If I scroll down here, there is not too much else you need to be aware of other than the fact that every plan has an associated amount of submissions that they allow. I know for the free plan, it's 50. Libraries, fonts, not too important. Backups is what I showed earlier. You're going to have automatic backups and also manual backups. Integrations, this is where you're going to be able to add your Google Analytics. Furthermore, you're going to be able to generate your API access token that we're going to be able to use in Zapier. And then, if you're really familiar with automations and AI, you can really start using webhooks as well. Custom code, not too important. The only context I really see using custom code would be if it was an e-commerce sites and there's a lot more, add to cart, reach checkout, that kind of conversion event occurring. Let's wrap a bow on this website here. We're going to go ahead and come over to our pages here. We're going to hit that little gear icon and let's add a meta title and a meta description. We're going to say based on all the information for this web page, generate an effective SEO meta title and description. Hit enter here. Perfect. And go ahead and grab this. Command C, Command A, Command V. So we got our title. And just for reference, this is how it shows up in Google search. So if an individual finds you through Google search, plus this is how Google crawls your site to understand what website, what do you do as a website. So we got Affinity AI Solutions, AI powered social media automation and content generation. Experience the power of AI with Affinity AI Solutions. We specialize in advanced social media automation, AI driven content generation, seamlessly integrating with 5,000 apps. Notice how it takes into context everything we said in that chat. Transform your social media strategy and engage your audience like never before. Now, the last most important thing to add to your website here is going to be your open graph settings. And for your context, this is going to be 1,200 by 630. Essentially, what I suggest you to do is basically copy and paste relevant information about your website onto this. A really nice method is essentially just screenshotting your homepage, your contact page, and about page, and then placing it into a program like Canva that fills those dimensions and places it here. Also, look how they did it here. This is pretty effective as well. You could probably save this image and then basically put in your homepage right here and then change the text here to be more associated with your AI automation agency. Okay, we have created our AI automation agency landing page. You learned a ton when it came to Webflow. You learned all the fundamentals and you learned how to use ChatGPT to build out your own web page. Whatever context you may be doing an AI automation agency for, make sure to niche down your ChatGPT chat to understand your market and who is your target audience. One pro little tip here is when you're developing a chat that is dedicated for a specific context, like we saw in this video, go ahead and bookmark it. This is going to allow you to come back to it in a future date. So you don't necessarily have to build out your website all in one sitting. You can come back to that chat and keep asking it questions on that specific context. So that was a really cool tutorial. Now you have the ability to check out that landing page yourself. Let's go ahead and jump into the next lesson here where we're going to be looking at Basecamp and setting up a project management for the potential leads we convert.